So that's the first layer. It's only a few minutes past where I left off. And you'll see, if we turn this thing around here, because we do have the time now. All the little grooves I had done, those are the really important things to get covered really well in the first layer. All the undercuts. That is the big important key step, because latex will bond to itself. So if as long as you get those areas covered first, they're the big key areas. Now I made enough to cover the whole thing thinly, so my next batch is probably going to be closer to 15 ounces, just so I can get a good thick second coat on there. I'll probably go ahead and do trying to do a build up between the spikes, that way there's more stability in the overall mold. But overall, like you see, it's a little thin along the edge there, but that's not a big deal because silicone rubber bonds to itself very nicely, so it's not an issue. But yeah, you do want to get all the undercuts done. Like when I did the Guyver 3 helmet, I wasn't as concerned about it because it was the first time. So there's a couple areas that are a little shallower than others, but that could be fixed with a bit of dremeling. But overall, not difficult to do once you know how to mix stuff. And Smooth On does a good job at keeping their products easy to use for everyone. The white part, let's see here, they even tell me stir part B thoroughly before mixing with part A. They don't really tell you which one it is, but anyway, the white part is a 10-to-1 ratio with the pink part. So you get 10 ounces of white, you get 1 ounce of pink, and then the Tyvek is maybe a little bit less than a capful for that. And that'll give you this kind of result, which gives you a silicone rubber that does not drip. It's very easy to apply. I scraped up the what I could out of there, so I used as much as I can. I don't think I have an ounce of dead material, of waste. So it's it's, even for the price, it's worth buying over natural, because natural rubber is about half the price of this. But if you're doing it without a hardener, without a thickener, then you're doing like 25 coats, and you're blow drying the thing in between. I've done it before with molds that I tried to do for some airsoft parts that I have, and they worked. It took forever. So, but they were small parts, so it wasn't a big deal. But something like this, you'd be at it for days. So 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, apply it on, and wait for 2 hours. Do whatever you need to do. Come back, throw on another coat, leave again for 2 hours, and you don't have to sit there. I can leave this and go see a movie or whatever, and it's not a big deal. You can even wait a little longer than 2 hours, not a big deal. Basically, all you want is for the silicone rubber to be, for the most part, barely tacky for when you go to reapply. But I have done molds where I've let it cure completely and applied the rubber again, and it's still bonded. I don't recommend doing that, just in case you've got a complicated mold, but it's an option. If you're doing something small, I would suggest trying it out for yourself first. That way nothing comes back to me saying, oh, you told me this, and it's like, well, I said, what, it's up to you. And while I'm on the subject of coming back to me, I love that everybody's thrilled, interested in all that, in all my work. But I beg of you, please, when you ask questions, please at least take the time to write it out properly. Because I've had so many questions over the last 2 weeks where I have to send the message back saying, you know what, you either reword it or you spell it properly, because you know, I love taking the time to be able to explain what I do and help newer sculptors and artists to get into this. But nothing annoys me more than having to strain to freaking understand what somebody's written, and even worse, to send it back saying, what are you talking about? So very, you know, very grateful to everyone who's expressed interest and who's started doing some of this because of me. I'm very flattered, but please write it properly. It doesn't take much time. You know, if you're in a different country, I can understand it, but you know, you could take 2 minutes to look through a dictionary or what have you to get the proper words or the proper spelling. And if you're in Canada or North America, you've got no excuse, because the school system's free and all you gotta do is apply yourself. So come on, send me something that I can actually read and understand. Thank you very much, everyone.